We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Thank you, Marisol. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, and thank you, John, for taking over for fellowship this morning. Huge thank you. I feel so honored and excited and happy to be here sharing this morning. Very unexpectedly, thanks to Rhoda, on a subject that's near and dear to my heart. It's expressed through the title of today's inspirational message, Rest in the Eye of a Storm, Living Water, Light, and the Way Home. And we'll be playing around with our true stable identity as whole, perfect Christ or divine light, and how we are created, just that's our true nature. And also just to continue to practice or explore resting and looking without any judgment toward ourselves around any distorted feeling experience we might be having, any resistance to what is. And that will just magnify the light emanating from all the tools in our toolbox when our true nature feels a little elusive. But before we go into this morning's exploration, I invite us all, members and friends, welcome friends too, so much, to greet one another on the chat board while our opening song, We Are Awakening, plays. Oh, I love that song. I hear that a lot. David Premal and Mitten, I think, composed that. Oh, so beautiful. And it's just so fun to watch the greetings. So it just feels like we're almost together in person. Good to see your faces. So now I will read our Awakening Together statement of purpose. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. And a core value that really popped out as I reviewed them while preparing for today, in the spirit that we're going to be exploring a deeply loving approach when appearances of feelings or emotions or sensations, thoughts, beliefs, the desire for separation arise. So here we go with core value number 5. We accept all forms as temporary appearances permitted through enduring awareness of the self. We live this value by honoring, not fearing, all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. I have to say I added the little not fearing piece. It's not in the core value, but it's implied. So, so now we will move into announcements. So it's time for our first song. The funny thing, all the songs just appeared. And this first song is really an encouragement to rest in the arms of the comforter when a feeling, experience, or distortion arises that feels different from the infinite, immaculate, loving light that we are, that we're made from, and that we remain, and we're just so loved. Yeah. And so as you watch it, just rest. And Marisol is going to play the song. Thank you. Let's begin our prayer. As we do, we're invited to simply breathe and gently soften even deeper and remind ourselves that we're already unspeakably loved and safe at home in the peace of God, no matter what arises. That help is always available during any storm God, you hear us in the radiance. You always hear us through the vibrations, through the field of thoughts and feelings and sensations, through stories and perceptions. Through our thinking, we know what is causing this or that. You know us. You always know us. You call us by name. Thank you. Thank you for continuing to magnify the tractor beam of love that is pulling us to you and that we can feel shining. Thank you for our true nature as children of light, as children of love. Please keep making your reality and our reality clear to us as this morning's program proceeds, and always, in all ways, in every moment of our lives. Thank you for helping us keep on keeping on. Thank you for being and for helping us shine. And so it is. And now we'll have the reading.
This is our reading message from Andy Schragle. Who am I? Dear one, there are many fractals and/or layers to this question. The question is like a hologram with answers corresponding to the seeming readiness of the questioner, and yet paradoxically, the answer is whole and complete at every level. To ask the question implies the answer is here now. Or to know the question means you know the answer now. So who am I? It is helpful for you to know that the I can be quite vast. There mustn't be any judgment about the I or the focal point of witnessing the amness's infinity. The I is the bridge, the gateway to your choice for divinity or servitude now. The I reflects the underlying wish always. Isn't that interesting? How curious. Then how malleable is the I? Of course, as all things with God, the evolution of the I simply extends and expands without judgment, worry, or care. It reflects the opposite of separation, or the return from the effects of fear, which tend to compartmentalize, fracture, break away as a means to, quote, understand or, quote, control. This is madness and requires incredible effort. You and all those who will read this are ready to remember. The I is almost like a vehicle that travels across this instant of potentiality. Dear one, I remind you that fear always distorts the truth. As an example, take the arc of human development starting in infancy, hitting peak potential in adulthood, and slowly declining in older age. And yet God's evolution, or the remembrance, is that the I is in a near constant state of development, opening, softening, relaxing into the totality of the Father. What this means from a third dimensional standpoint is that the I continues to take on more and more of God, increasing the capacity and awareness. The progression does not necessarily have to be linear. I witness the field. I am the field of perceptual experiencing. I am awareness beingness. I am the void beyond. I am the field of pure divinity. I am. God is. Here, dear one, is the seeming transformation in which the I becomes more and more diffuse within the immaculate grace of the amness of pure divinity. This is the communion between masculine and feminine, or between God and child of light. I is an expansive term. I am occurs across all time, space, and potentiality. It's like a disco ball with an infinite number of facets in which the mind of God experiences itself. We want you to know again that you are always and never not in the hands of God, resting, extending, and being in complete holiness and immaculate grace. This is simply the nature of you, now, always. You can never alter this truth, and yet, as we have been here with you, you can alter your interpretation. So here we play. Here we become curious. Here you come to uncover your nature as divinity and perfection ad infinitum. There is no other meaning to now other than to bless you and honor you and to love you so completely that you must extend the very natural laws of God, giving and receiving. And thus, to know is to be now. What you must know is that you are the truth as experience itself. To move and flow and swirl as infinity always. This is the message. Yes, dear one, I know quite abstract, but you know that words are symbols of symbols leading you to the present experience, the present knowing, the I am. And this from A Course in Miracles. Beyond your darkest dreams, that is distortions about yourself, he sees God's guiltless sun within you, shining in perfect radiance that is undimmed by your dreams. And this you will see as you look with him, for his vision is his gift of love to you, given him of the Father for you. Instead of seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, say, will ye first the kingdom of heaven? And you have said, I know that I am, and I accept my own inheritance. You can perceive yourself as self-creating, but you cannot do more than believe it. You cannot make it true. And as I said before, when you finally perceive correctly, you can only be glad that you cannot make yourself. Until then, however, the belief that you can make yourself is the foundation stone in your thought system, and all your defenses are used to attack ideas that might bring it, your thought system, to light. You still believe you are an image of your own making. Your mind is split with the Holy Spirit on this point. And there is no resolution while you believe the one thing that is literally inconceivable. That is why you are filled with fear about what you make. A suggestion for what to do. ... Again, message from Andy Schregel. Supernova, : relax. Let the turbulence burst forth. Sit here now in the firestorm of guilt and shame. The star, right before it goes supernova, experiences unimaginable tension, and yet the light is revealed. Sit with us now in divinity. Let the atmosphere of mercy and grace envelop your beingness as you witness the great undoing, or shall we say, revealment of the mind. This tension is the light literally bursting forth through the belief structures erected to defend against it. For the light has come, inviting you into the still gentle waters of divinity. The light has come, reminding you of your infinite power as creator. And so, in the light, as the light, witness what is arising. Sink into the 0 point. Relax your tight grasp and open to receive. Dear one, you are the most precious gift. You are all of it. Every last iota of truth, love, and beauty is reflected in you, as you, and through you. This is the invitation to be yourself now. This is the answer as you, as truth is the answer to all things. Your identity as divinity puts all distortion to rest. Choose it, be it, extend it. As so, the kingdom of heaven is revealed. And so it is. Message from A Course in Miracles. When a mind has only light, it knows only light. Its own radiance shines all around it and extends out into the darkness of other minds, transforming them into majesty. The majesty of God is there for you to recognize and appreciate and know. Recognizing the majesty of God as your brother is to accept your own inheritance. God gives only equally. If you recognize his gift in anyone, you have acknowledged what he has given you. Nothing is so easy to recognize as truth. This is the recognition that is immediate, clear, and natural.
Thank you, Anne. Oh, so just resting in that, getting back to my place in my notes. Oh, thank you for this moment. Okay. Yeah, so what a blessing to have so many pointings with the same message in our world. Messages that came to our beloved founder, Regina, and all of us in one way or another, to just rest in the eye of a storm of energy, a storm of beliefs, to just relax into that quiet, spacious presence and just notice the I, however we might spell it. Just resting in the heart of the living water is the word that, or the phrase that is so alive here, because there's such a freshness that becomes so evident. It's like the living water. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? The universe twinkling. And that song that I chose, or that was chosen, because they came up on my feed, you know, the part of us that here, I was especially sensitive to sound as a child, and I learned how to approach that. But along the way, you know, my brother must have had like a deviated septum or something, because sometimes when he breathed, it whistled, his nose whistled a little, and it was painful. And to energetically, you know, it seemed like nose breathing cause, and I would say, stop breathing. But of course, I didn't want him to stop breathing. I loved him. Nobody makes me laugh louder to this day. And as a kid, I wet my pants on numerous occasions, just just laughing at his way of seeing. He has this way of seeing sort of the dream and how we are sometimes without making anyone bad. It's just, we should have recorded. I should always record him, because he's bright, bright, bright. But was I a sinner for saying, stop breathing, then I'd get yelled at, of course, by my parents, don't say something, that's terrible. And I totally understand, of course, that's like, oh no, that sounds horrible. But in that moment, when a distortion happens in the field and the mind thinks it knows where it's coming from, it wants to get away from the pain. It wants the pain to stop. I see Regina waving, but I don't think she's raising her hand. And so with all my heart, and I feel so convicted to this teaching in A Course in Miracles, that there's only love, or a call for love. And so convicted that I walked coast to coast sharing that message in a very quiet way. I wasn't out there broadcasting it, but in a very quiet way. And just continue to feel the accuracy of that information, that as beings of light, when there's a distortion of light, it feels different than the truth of our being, of our radiance. And so I've devoted my life to figuring, to learning, and what is that all about, and wanting to share what I'm learning, because I get it, when I see an upset, it's easy to identify that as pain in another. The big adventure is forgiving me when a distortion arises. And it's like just a couple of sounds have come in not back into my world, because these were new sounds to me, but they were like sounds of uncomfortableness by another creature, and that I couldn't do anything about. And I could see that there was just what do I do now? What do I do now? And it's like, rest in the peace of God, that you're in the eye of a vibrational distortion, and how to rest while that is happening, and while the mind thinks, a cause is out there somehow, a disturbance. And it's so interesting. I spent so much time putting notes down, but also just asked for the divine to give this message. and how deeply my heart is connected to wanting to bring this information for myself and for anyone at any age who experiences the pain of the separation. Because with all my heart, I believe that when that distortion is detected, it's like the original separation thought, that cosmic pain of splitting the mind, that was such a distortion. It's just, I had a vision once. I was sitting with a bunch of engineers actually in Bellingham, Washington at a marina, but around like at a restaurant. And I had this vision as I'm sitting there with them of like the Big Bang and like just this burst. And it was actually a burst of like pink light out into the darkness. And I just like, I jolted back and everybody kind of looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just saw the Big Bang. No big deal." I didn't say that second part, but that any distortion, any lack of inner peace from the slightest, as we know in the Course in Miracles, the slightest irritation is just masking like this rage, this, I can't remember the exact words he uses, but it's like this incredible feeling of distortion. And another time, many years ago, I was sleeping on the floor actually in an extended family's basement, and this cyclone of energy was like above me. I'm horizontal, and it was like I couldn't move, and it was just like incredibly intense. And of course I wanted for it to end, and it was like just to lift my body felt like it took a whole lot of energy. And I don't know now if I just would have totally softened and gone right into it, what would have happened. I don't know. But it's these, having, as many of us have had, many windows into the supernatural or the mystic, and many, many beautiful ones here too. I'm just sharing because this message is on, in the eye of a, resting in the eye of a storm, and what to call on. I know now, just ask, here it is, here I am. And it feels like distortion, and the divine's like, "Okay, have fun with it." I'm like, "Oh my God." As a matter of fact, I was telling a friend of mine about the sound, and she was like, match it. And I've done that before, but I hadn't thought of it. Like this lack of clarity that can come in when a distortion is detected, like that, the ego always responds first. It wants to get away, fight, flight, or freeze, the sort of basic sort of reptilian brain responses. And so I'm sort of looking forward to it again, so I can just really mimic the sound and match it, because it's nothing to be afraid of. And the light is literally freed from it. The thing that I'm always, want to be very cognizant is that I don't project that pain. And when it feels like that just got projected, it like breaks my heart. I'm like, no, I want to pull it back. I have an extended family member when she was raising her kids, and the kids would go into, the kiddo fighting mode. And she'd go, "Okay, let's rewind." And everybody would like step back a few steps, and so at that instant forgiveness of, wait a minute, wait, I'm just detecting a distortion. I think it's real. If I buy into it and inflame and feed that light to the upset, it's just going to feel more inflammatory. And so I just want to rest and go to the one who knows, the love, and let the nervous system, the sensory system just settle. I learned in my yoga class that the nervous system used to be called the visceral system. And I loved hearing that. Because I was like, yeah, it's that detector, you know, this organism is very well structured to preserve itself, but it's also extraordinarily capable of resting in the eye of a nervous system response that might go to the mind and thoughts. You know, we know thoughts come later, the stories, all of that is after the fact. The primary is what's true, and this is our divinity. And the calm presence, the peace of God, so many different ways we might describe it. And then, where am I? What am I? A being of light. This being of light is feeling like she's going through the turbulence. The other day I saw like the South America at the very tip. I can't remember what that body of water is between Antarctica and the southern tip of South America, like that. And then I saw myself as just a piece of plankton just floating through the waves. And I was joined with a friend, and he's like, okay, go deeper. You know, you are the ocean, you know, and the sky and all of that. And it's like, yeah. And now I'm getting a flash of Kate in my mind talking about meditation, and you know that like sitting for 10 minutes is awesome, and bringing that into that nourishment that I can detect when I'm really resting in the living water or resting in the infinite field, the truth. Thanks, Dove. You know, and to just know that it's true, because the mind will come into complete alignment with that, but it also thinks it needs to protect something. And so I'm overriding that protection mechanism that would suggest anything else other than a being of divine light. And to the degree that something feels safe enough to do that, it will calm. And I'll notice that I already am, in the eye of the storm. And how I actually meant to start today was like Jesus, he slept during the storm. You know, that's such a great metaphor of like he's sound asleep in the boat, and the boat's raging, and the apostles are going off the rails with fear, and like he's sleeping. Pardon my paraphrasing. And Jesus is like, what? I'm with you always, and calms the storm. And just what a beautiful, it's not that we're not going to feel those in the separation state for however long it feels like a distortion is even possible to experience. But there is a way out, and that is to rest in the eye of the storm here for me. And that this power of light it's the power of God that split the mind. It was a part of the mind that said, what if everything was completely different? That kind of a question coming from all the power in the universe. Did it, but just a little wisp, we're told. We're in like a warp bubble is the way I think of it. And we're still in that, and I can feel it. And it's beyond words. It's beyond. It's in the quiet. It's in the gapless presence. And none of us can convince each other of it, but there's something in us that just knows it, because I think we experience it all the time. It's our true nature. It's more, I say it's easier to detect a distortion because perfection can detect like, oh, nope. And to not go toward the distortion as like the definition of what I am, but that distortion is made of light. And I thought I would be reading, or someone would be reading, The Power of Light this morning, which is a message that Regina received that is in the teachings. I know you guys hear me talk about that one a lot. I will put it into the chat right now, but it's great to read because in that message, the divine is pointing to, oh, that didn't work. Okay. Well, at some point I'll get it up there. Yeah, but it's called The Power of Light. I think it's in 2010 messages, but I'm not entirely sure. Is encouraging. Message was originally meant for Laurent to notice the power, not the distortion, and to just rest in that. And when I first read that, I was like intimidated. I was like, oh, what? You know, like, because that power is so powerful. We've created all of this that, and yet we're still within reality, which is, you know, formless. And I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, The Celestine Prophecy. That one does a really good job on screen of kind of showing that the true reality that we're in, like a heaven state, and then the distorted state kind of overlaid to that, the densities, and that none of it is seen by the divine as evil or bad. It's just that we've kind of caught ourselves in these frequencies and in oblivion, or a state of oblivion, which to me, you know, it's like, I'm getting again a flash of when I saw like the energy of 10,000 cyclones. It was like that's like the split. And it's like, but I was still observing that. So there was nothing in this body, and it's right here today. It wasn't harmed at all by that. It was a very potent opportunity to witness the depth of the split in the mind. And even Jesus says, if we knew how much fear was in there, we couldn't do what we're doing. So in that way, I've always thought of it as the veiled mind is actually serving us, because through our lives and through, we're undoing that terror, bit by bit. And there's no time anyway, but just bit by bit, we're relaxing into the peace of God. Just checking in here. Just sharing my life story is what I'm hearing. Yeah, I've got a lot of notes, but and what I'm seeing right now is, you know, this is what Jesus did, these rings of fear in the mind, you know, that maybe even that we're unworthy. I was listening to an Adyashanti, the beginning of a book, you know, how Audible plays those, you know, now for another title along those lines. And he was talking about how in the East, there really isn't the concept of unworthiness. But here in the West, especially in Christianity, it's a big blanket in our mind, is how he didn't say it like that, but it's like, that seems like something we're still like transcending. And Jesus told a friend and I a few weeks ago, you know, you've been trying to undo the shoddy belief that you are singular in this process. And it's like, he's like, would a loving God, he says it much more eloquently, would a loving God abandon a baby lamb to that? Of course not. You know, we get A Course in Miracles and Holy Spirit's interpretation of the New Testament and so many different scriptures that are here to remind us of our holy, whole nature. And I am passionate about that, and that is the truth. And it's fearless. Like, it's okay to be fearless about that. And another funny story, the other day, I had someone, I was invited to a meeting, a dyad thing. And afterwards, the person contacted me because it's invited to a kind of a group. And I don't have the qualifications that they usually require, but they're kind of open, I think based on what they know of me. But he said in his email, he said, "You're not shy." And then in the same day, I had someone tell me I was timid. And that's true. Like both of those are true. There are times when I'm very timid because I don't want to impose the passion I feel about the truth of what we are and you know what you know the way out. And there's so many avenues to the way out, you know, to the open door. But also when, you know, the opportunity to just be myself. I'm not shy, you know, when it's like, oh, I'm going to say what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, you know, and it's because it's so amazing. It's just take my breath away. Stunning. And yeah, so I think I've shared a lot and did not go by my notes at all. So I hope it made some sense. and I feel like it's time for our next song. And yeah, so, oh, wait a minute. I do want to do a very quick exercise for everyone. Yes. So if we're invited, it's always optional to just, again, sort of rest into that presence, the beingness, however you might describe it, whatever your practice or your own direct experience feels like, just rest in this presence. Just keep softening, opening. Notice there's an astounding love that we are bathed in. That we're basking in. Floating in. And if this seems elusive, that's no problem at all. Just give yourself a big hug. We are loved infinitely. And gently relax and quietly notice if there's ever a storm, just a distortion or some sort of argument the mind might have that it just kind of wants to hold on to, that it's just sure of. Just bring it into this incredible love. And there's nothing to do with it. Just rest in this loving water, this loving field. And if there's any detection of a distortion of some kind, unworthiness or fear, just let the energy, the juice of it, just kind of be as it is. We don't need to change it. Just keep resting and noticing the love. Don't be at all concerned when a storm is detected. We're actually asking for these storms to rise, and they'll fade unless we want to choose it over an instant. And we can. That is our right. No, we can always choose to will for the kingdom of heaven, like the reading said in the course. And just rest, just noticing where our attention is. And if we choose to really place our attention more on the storm, just that we're just choosing that, and that's okay. We can right now choose again. And let it be. And just rest in divine love. And so in any time as we move through our days, we can remind ourselves how loved we are and to go to or toward that tractor beam of love. It's just energy, just a feeling storm. And remind ourselves, oh, this is what's been hidden and it's what I've been afraid of. And I'm going to bring it back into this love. And remember the power of light. This is the power that we have by nature of what we are. We'll never be free of that power. We can't shake it off and not have it anymore. I'm seeing a wet dog shaking water off in slow motion. We can't do that with the power of light, but we can do it with distortion, just resting. Yeah. So stay here as long as you like. I'm going to share a little bit about our next song. And this song appeared 4 days ago. Never seen it before. It drew me in and just pulled me up. And as we watch, the illustrations are so beautiful. They're of Jesus. And it refers a lot. It seems to imply both like that the word of God is the true creation, is the great rays, or we might say the Son of God, or the infinite extension of love. And also it seems to refer a lot to the Bible, which is totally fine. But I just invite us all, maybe we use different symbols and different scriptures, different messages, to include those. It's just all of these ways that this living word or gnosis or presence of the divine is with us and is always sending us these messages that we all receive. And so just enjoy the song from that perspective, if you like. Marisol, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being a safe place to share. And now we just have a little bit of time, but does anyone have any reflections? Jan, please.
That was a beautiful song. And it's really wonderful for me to see that I am no longer so reactive against pictures of Jesus, for example. Your invitation to use the symbols for your own healing is really just a wonderful healing approach in and of itself. Beautiful song. Thank you so much.
Thanks. You guys can hear me? Okay. So just as we listen to this song, we're invited to imagine that the divine is singing to us. We're singing to the divine, but we're also singing to all our brothers. And that's just an invitation if you like. So go ahead and play the song. Thanks, Marisol.
I just want to say thank you again, and to everyone who makes Awakening Together possible.
Have a blessed Sunday.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.